Good night, sweet dreams. That's what my dad would say to me. But sometimes I had trouble falling asleep. Then he would tell me stories about his travels. I want this tradition to live on. So now, let me share my stories with you. I am surrounded by the deepest, brightest blue. Above me, below me, to my right and left, blue. I'm floating in the middle of this color. My body is light and free. No weight or gravity to hold it down. High overhead, the blue glitters in a bright splash of turquoise. Pale light filters past the wavering surface, breaking into gleaming fragments that dance across my field of vision. I stretch my arms in front of me, gliding beneath the sparkling surface of the water. A shimmer of silver flickers to my left as a school of fish twists beside me, their luminous scales glinting. The small shiny bodies huddle close together and move as one organism. I swim along with them, the sunlit water feeling pleasantly warm on my skin. As I turn, a shadow in the distance catches the light just enough to draw my eye. I sense that something significant is about to happen. The blurry shape comes closer and closer, and finally, I look into the wrinkled face of an ancient turtle. It floats gently in front of me. Soft streaks of light refract beneath the water's surface, rippling across the turtle's shell. It looks at me with its wise, dark gaze. Until I blink, and the flowing blue ocean is replaced by a solid, white ceiling. I sit up with a yawn and rub the sleep out of my eyes. Warm sunlight streams into the cozy room. In front of the open window, a gossamer white curtain billows in the breeze. The rich, sweet scent of blushing damask roses wafts over to me on a gust of warm air. I take a deep breath to savor the golden quiet of salt and sun. Slowly, I come back to the present. Comfortably wrapped up in my bed in Dalian, on the southwest coast of Turkey. The underwater paradise of my dreams falls away, replaced by the contours of my room taking shape. But the image of the old turtle is still crystal clear in my mind. It seemed as if it wanted to tell me something. I try to recall my dream, but the more I try to grasp it, the more it slips away from me. I stretch and push myself out of bed, letting my curious dream turtle stay in the sea of my dreams. After all, I have another day in this vacation paradise ahead of me, and today I have something very special planned. I'm going to rejuvenate myself. In Dalian, I can follow the footsteps of countless others before me and take a mud bath in the mineral-rich waters of Sultaniye. What better way to start my day than with an ancient ritual of renewal? According to legend, Cleopatra herself used the healing and youth-giving properties of the mud here. I can almost imagine her brushing clay from her skin beneath the same sun that shines on me now. And who doesn't secretly dream of turning back the clock a little and finding themselves in a young and refreshed body? Full of anticipation, I make my way to the pier, the breeze tugging at my sleeves and the scent of river reeds thick in the air. A handful of others stand nearby, waiting for the boat that will carry us along the turquoise waters of the Dalian River. With a quiet, puttering sound, a charming blue and white boat drifts to our sun-warmed pier, its awning casting flickers of shadow onto the river's surface. Dense, wild vegetation rises in the background, up the picturesque Kaunos Mountains. Like a turtle with its head and shell above the surface, the boat glides over the water. I have to shake my head and laugh. Now it seems I really do see turtles everywhere, but I guess that's no surprise in Dalian. The town, and especially the nearby beach, are considered a turtle paradise. From magnificent sculptures to whimsical souvenirs, turtle motifs fill seemingly every space around here. If you're lucky, you can even come across a live specimen to go swimming and see a turtle poking its little head out of the water. No wonder these creatures have been appearing in my dreams. But as soon as I board the boat and find a comfortable spot along the railing, my mind quiets. The water laps softly against the boat, the warm breeze carrying over the scent of pine and earth. We've hardly left the pier when my thoughts are already claimed entirely by the view as we glide past the Lycian tombs of Kaunos. Carved into the mountain itself, the tombs rise like guardians over the river, sunlight illuminating the ochre stone in brilliant gold. Columns flank each entrance, and for a moment I forget everything else. Right here is where the ancient kings were laid to rest. They are inaccessible to us now. The only path leading up to the tombs cuts off before it reaches them. I didn't expect to feel so moved by the tombs, but something about their stillness draws me in. Like I can feel the lingering authority of the kings slumbering behind those gateways as they continue to watch over their country. I lean back against the side of the boat, relaxing into the soft wind dancing over my skin. It carries the smells of the river to me. Fresh, mineral-rich water mixed with the earthy scent of meter-high reeds. These plants grow abundantly along the river banks, rustling in the breeze. As the channel narrows, the world around us seems to shrink. The tall grasses enclose us in a corridor of green, as if, for a moment, we belong to a world of our own. Quiet naturally falls over the boat, the hush broken only by the raspy call of a water bird. I catch a glimpse of a heron lifting into the air, its wings brushing the tops of the reeds. The sound seems to flow around me like music. With a gentle bobbing of the boat, we moor at a narrow wooden jetty. Palm trees rise above sharp cacti, vibrant fronds of green draping their shade over purple rhododendrons. It's beautiful, but the lovely sight is somewhat marred by the sulphurous smell of rotten eggs wafting from the baths. Quite a few of us grimace at first, but as they say, you have to suffer to be young and beautiful. And so we bravely plunge into the mud. To my surprise, it turns out to be quite fun. The pale mud feels wonderfully soft and warm as I submerge myself, leaving behind a velvety feeling on the skin. Like the others, I cover my face, ears, and even my hair. It's recommended to let the mud dry on your skin, so after thoroughly coating myself, I sit down on a small stone wall and let the sun shine on my skin and the mud. I'm completely enveloped in warmth and feel my breathing become calmer and calmer. A pleasant shiver runs down my spine, and as the mud dries and makes my skin feel tight, I wonder how many years I would actually like to be rejuvenated. I remember a time in my 20s when I felt invincible and at the same time very vulnerable. I felt solid and strong, yet permeable and receptive to the vast wealth of sensations and experiences the world offered me. I close my eyes and immerse myself in that state, warming beneath the bright sun and hoping that the mud will sink deep into my skin. When I open my eyes again, I'm delighted to find myself statuesque. The mud has dried to a light granite gray and covers my entire body. It's an unreal sight. Gray figures all around me, as if the bath were populated by living clay soldiers. With our mud baths dried, I can think of no better step on my journey than to jump into a freshwater pool. And what a feeling it is. The water holds me aloft, cool and refreshing, as I begin to wash the mud from my body. I try to glean if the mud has made a difference in my companions, but it's hard to tell whether their glow comes from their newly youthful skin or simply from their happy smiles. After a rigorous bath and some more sunbathing to dry off, the boat ride continues. It drops us off at an enchanting restaurant that sits right on the river. Delicate fig trees line the wooden terrace, their narrow branches spreading a cooling canopy over the tables. I settle into a comfortable wicker chair between cheerful geranium pots and the striking red flowers of a nearby tree. My neighbor explains to me that these are pomegranate trees, which are very popular in this region. And now that they mention it, the color of the blossoms does remind me of the vibrant red fruits they turn into. We start up a lovely conversation about plants as we enjoy the view of the river and a delicious meal of grilled blue crab. I'd been told it's a regional delicacy, so of course I had to try it. The succulent meat is as hearty as chicken, with an intense marine flavor I can't get enough of. I let my gaze wander over the glittering river delta, which lies peacefully in the afternoon haze, surrounded by rolling hills. I feel deeply relaxed after my mud bath. Although I can't exactly say that I feel younger, my skin does feel smoother and more refreshed than it has in many years. And who knows, perhaps the youthful effect just needs a bit more time to kick in. While I wait for the magical transformation, there's another item on the agenda. Our small blue and white boat carries us through a labyrinth of natural channels to one of Turkey's most beautiful coasts, İztuzu Beach. Like Dalian itself, with its small farmhouses and fishers' cottages, İztuzu's tranquil harbor and market square exude a cozy and relaxed atmosphere. A special creature resides here, one I can thank for the peace, the Caretta caretta. The loggerhead sea turtle is a large, impressive animal, very similar to the one in my dreams. This rare species always lays its eggs right where it was born, and İztuzu Beach is one of these birthplaces. In the mid-1980s, animal rights activists prevented the construction of hotel complexes here, not only saving the turtles, but also helping to preserve the beloved atmosphere of Dalian. In the evening, the beach is closed and reserved for the turtles, but during the day, us humans are also allowed to appreciate it. And the moment I step onto the sand, I find myself very appreciative indeed. İztuzu is like no beach I've ever been to. It's a narrow curve, looking less like a coast and more like a path. An avenue of glittering white sand, and on either side of it is the most incredible water I've ever seen. To my right, lagoons form vibrant green pools, some bluish and others almost lime-colored. And to my left, the ocean sprawls out from the coast in a watercolor-like gradient from turquoise to deep, rich blue. I walk barefoot across the warm sand, unable to decide which way to look. I pass by nesting spots that are sectioned off with wire and imagine the tiny white eggs slumbering in their sandy burrows, waiting for the right time to hatch. How do they know which way to go once they emerge from their nest? Will they be like me, looking left and right, trying to figure out which body of water calls to them more? Maybe they will be. And, like me, they'll realize that the ocean's call is greater. The bright blue draws me in like magic. Cool, foaming waves glisten in the sunlight as they wash over my feet, bringing relief from the sand. A pleasant sea breeze ruffles my hair and lifts the briny ocean scent to my nose. I breathe it in deeply. The vastness, the freedom. With a brief jog and a small jump, I dive into the waves. I take a few vigorous strokes, enjoying the feeling of my arms gliding through the water. Just like in my dream, I feel weightless, light and free. I duck under the surface, imagining the little turtles that will soon experience life like this, and the big, ancient turtles who have been experiencing this life for a very long time. After some thorough swimming, I lie down on the white sand. Above me is the blue, cloudless sky. The surf laps at the beach in rolling blue waves, brushing against my soles and ankles. I close my eyes. With the gentle sound of the waves in my ears, I think about what ancient and mysterious power brings the turtles back to this beach, to the place where they were born. A playful wind blows over the straw parasols dotting the beach, their rustling lulling me further into relaxation. A pleasant tiredness washes over me. My limbs feel like they're sinking into the warm sand. In my mind's eye, I picture the sun setting and the bright day turning into a velvety dark night. I see all man-made lights go out, see them be replaced by the shining moon and millions of stars. And then I imagine something stirring in the sand, small, clumsy bodies emerging from the sectioned off areas. Tiny turtles with adorable little heads and comparatively large flippers. They crawl across the beach, never once straying from their destined path to the ocean. I can hear the same call they hear, and when I look out into the waves, I see the wrinkled old face of the turtle I dreamt of last night. It occurs to me that maybe she's been appearing in my dreams for a reason, to remind me that age is a blessing of its own, that as long as I don't mourn the loss of youth, I've never truly lost anything. I have to smile at the unexpected wisdom and crack my eyes open to look over my rejuvenated limbs. Maybe they didn't get more youthful, but I do feel refreshed, full of renewed energy, and if nothing else, the experience was more than worth it. As the sun sinks lower and lower on Isuzu Beach, and the scene is bathed in golden light, I remember snapshots of the day. I'm satisfied that I've savored them to the fullest. The ride in the little puttering boat, the narrow channels of reeds, the sight of the rock tombs high up in the ancient mountains, the bath in the warm mud, the feeling on my skin as it slowly dried in the sun, and the view over this endless ocean. These are all golden moments in the here and now that enrich my life. My thoughts drift on and on, like the bouncing crests of the surf, tossing themselves like baby turtles into the sea. I watch them go, happy to let them float away into the distance, knowing that whenever they are ready to come back, they'll know exactly where to go.